I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3, and let's focus on verses 1 through 5. But know this, difficult times will come in the last days, for people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, irreconcilable, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, without love for what is good, traitors, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, holding to a form of religion but denying its power. And from such people turn away. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 5. You know, the first American president that I remember being aware of as a kid was Gerald Ford. And he was the only president, by the way, to have not been elected either as vice president or as president. And he manned the helm during a very turbulent time in our nation's history, and I'm very thankful for that. Shortly after Ford's death, on the CBS Early Show, I watched Charles Gibson interviewing the Ford family's Episcopal priest, a guy named Robert Surton. And the discussion soon turned to comments that Ford had made to the reporter Bob Woodward, criticizing the Bush administration. And President Ford had asked that his comments not be published until his passing. And as the priest and Mr. Gibson discussed Ford's political stance on Iraq, the conversation turned toward moral issues. And pretty soon, Mr. Surton was bashing what he called the radical religious right. And let me be clear that I do not carte blanche endorse anyone or any organization. Rather, I weigh everyone's claim by the Bible. But that being said, this Episcopal priest began to denounce anyone who believed the Bible's claims against homosexuality and several other moral issues. And he went on to say that the golden rule, which is do unto others, that was present in the writings of over 20 world religions, and there was no religion that had any exclusive claims to absolute truth. I could not believe that this man was allowed to shepherd a Sunday school class, much less a head of state. And sitting there wearing this black suit and the priest's collar, he looked so authoritarian. Reading 2 Timothy chapter 3 this morning was very sobering. In the last days, men will hold to a form of religion, but they will deny its power. They are lovers of convenience more than lovers of God. And from such people, we should turn away. Nobody knows when Jesus will return, but I am convinced that we are living in these last days. So, thank you for your commitment to read God's Word with us and to share it with whomever God leads your way. It has been given to us, as it was to Paul and to Timothy, that we would be guardians of the gospel. And we must not add to or take away from God's Word. And we must distance ourselves from those who do. This is so that the gospel, as the Lord designed it, would retain its integrity and thus its power to save in our generation. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at groundworksministries.com.